Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. We are having ESI is celebrating 10 years of being in service in this format, and we're thankful that you have joined us. And we're kicking off our July series, our equity inclusion across the United States, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness through a new lens. And I am genuinely excited to have Danielle DiLeo Kim with us, who we've been working with and doing a lot of important work. And so, Danielle, let's just get into it. If you wouldn't mind, um, talk to us about Philadelphia 250, the work that you're doing, and give us an overview of that.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. Thank you so much for having me here today. And it has been a pleasure working with you and your ESI team over the last few years. So happy to be your guest. So Philadelphia 250 is a nonprofit organization that is leading a first of its kind, people-powered commemoration for the 250th anniversary of our country, which happens in 2026. And as the birthplace of American democracy here in Philadelphia, this 250th moment is so important for Philadelphia, and the nation will be looking at Philadelphia to lead. And we are here to do that in an inclusive and equitable citywide way with the people of Philadelphia, so that this is truly an opportunity for Philadelphians to get involved and to make their mark on the 250th.
Great. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about your background, your journey? I know that you are an architect and urban planner, and talk to us about your journey a little bit and how this ties into being selected for this position and the important work that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I love Philadelphia, and everything that I have done in my professional career since 1996 has really been about delivering transformational projects that move the city forward. I have worked as an architect and I've worked as an urban planner, and nearly all of the work I've done has been for Philadelphia. So I'll share a few projects that I think help set up my passion for leading a citywide neighborhood-based commemoration like we are, based on my experience. So in 2005, I was part of a team that was helped lead the first Fairmount Park Centennial District Master Plan. And that was a community-led process. We had a number of community members who were part of it, all of the major institutions in the Centennial District itself, and of course, the Fairmount Park Conservancy was the client. And the project was really a 20-year master plan of how to redo the Centennial District so that it would culminate and align with the year 2026, the 250th anniversary. So I've been thinking about the 250th for a very long time in my career, certainly like almost the last 20 years. So that's kind of interesting. I never knew that it would, be in this position today, but I always was very excited about, wow, this is something that Philadelphia gets to lead every 50 years. The nation looks to us. Architecturally, one of my most kind of proud projects that I worked on as an architect was the Salvation Army Kroc Center, which is a 100,000 square foot, unbelievable community center in Nicetown, Tioga, at Hunting Park and Wissahickon Avenue, 10 acres of land that was a brownfield that is now an unbelievable community resource. And knowing that I've helped contribute to a building that's adding to people's lives, where they can find meaning, where they can gather, really, that's the kind of work that I really love to do. And then the last project I'll just share in terms of like thinking citywide, which is what we're doing at Philadelphia 250, was helping to manage and lead the first comprehensive plan for the city when I was working with the City Planning Commission. And that was in 2010. And it was the first time that a comprehensive plan for the city, a 25-year long-range plan for the city, had been done in 50 years. The last one had been done by Ed Bacon. So everyone at the Planning Commission, myself included, we were all, really thinking, how does one put together a comprehensive plan for a city when we haven't done one, in so long? So we really thought very differently about it and made it, in the end, the document that everyone references, Philadelphia 2035, was viewed in a very creative way. We had tons of meetings. There were a lot of interdepartmental conversations with stakeholders. So, and of course, that process actually just completed a few years ago. Working on a comprehensive plan takes many, many years.
Definitely. So I want to invite, just want to make sure that participants know, please, if you have a question, feel free to put that in the chat and we'll be interactive. I'd also want to say, Ben, I'm glad you're playing soccer. I think that's at the Croc Center when you mentioned that, and you put that in there. So great, good for you. I'm grateful for that. Danielle, the city has a lot going on in 2026. That's kind of some of the culminating things. If I remember right, the World Cup is going to be here. ML, Major League Baseball is going to be here. So talk about some of your work, how that's culminating to this point, and how maybe some of these other events that you're a part of. I know that you're a part of that, and how that plays into making sure that 2026 is really vibrant here in Philadelphia as we celebrate this milestone.
Yeah, 2026 is going to be a phenomenal year in Philadelphia. It will be phenomenal for the work that we're doing at Philadelphia 250 all across the city. And there will be these unbelievable international events that are happening in the summer. And we are one of a cohort or a coalition of organizations that are really strategically thinking about how to position Philadelphia as the place to be in 2026, and as the place that can serve as a thought leader around an equitable, inclusive 250th anniversary, understanding that this is a big, complex topic, to be complete, to be straight up about that. And but in terms of the events, we are Philadelphia 250's role is to focus on the residents and the people in Philadelphia, and to make sure that there's opportunities for them to participate, there's programming, and that there's legacy projects that will help to mark this moment in time for the future. We are one of, like I said, a number of coalition members who are thinking about international visitors. So we have Visit Philadelphia, there's Welcome America, who will still be planning the most fabulous 250th celebration on the Parkway and for the 4th of July and their festival. The Chamber of Commerce is involved, World Affairs Council, the city itself. Like, there's a number of us who are all using our own lens and our own role to think about how do we make an experience in 2026 for everyone, regardless of what your interest, or whether you're a longtime Philadelphia, new to Philadelphia, or a visitor.
Wow, that's great. For those, I know we had a couple of people who were just joining, and just to reset just for a second, we're talking to Danielle DiLeo Kim, the president and executive director of Philly 250, and we're talking about this celebration. And I want to go back a little bit, Danielle. Talk to me about your love for history, and talk to me about how that played a role in you taking this assignment, even as you're thinking about connecting the past and kind of how it relates to the future. Talk to me a little bit about your passion for history and how all that plays into your new role, to your role here.
Sure. So I have a passion for Philadelphia, and I have a passion for the unbelievable diversity of the people and the cultural sites and the historic sites, the open spaces, and all of these cherished places that some of us know better because they're in our neighborhood, and there's other places that we don't know about. So I don't have a history background. I just explained to you that my background is architecture and urban planning, but I love the history of Philadelphia, and I love the history of the people that are here, and what happened, what has happened, what happens, and what will happen in Philadelphia is part of Philadelphia history, and that is essentially part of American history. And what we're doing at Philadelphia 250 around history, and actually we use histories as a plural word to,
Yes.
and this actually goes to the point about inclusion, right? Is that the words that we use, we try to be intentional about. So we're not talking about history, we're talking about the histories of all of the various immigrant groups, the Native Americans, enslaved Blacks, white, free, our founding fathers, all of the civil rights, the social justice movements that have come after Philadelphia, or have come through history. We want to make sure in our Share Your Stories program, which we have, that we are uplifting specifically untold and undertold stories, and that we are going out and reaching neighborhoods, places, and communities of people that would normally not be included. And that helps create shared histories and people's histories, which is what I am passionate about, that we are telling a true, fuller contextual story of this country for the 250th.
Yeah, that's great. Could you talk to us about a little bit more about some of the programming that you have initiated? I know that we work with you on some of the legacy projects, getting that up established, where you are in that process. And then if there are ways that people who are listening or other organizations can become involved in that, at different stages, talk to us about a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure, it's a long answer, so I will. Great. Yeah, so I don't want to talk too long. I'll give you an example. We can go back and forth. If you want me to tell you more, I'll give you a few others. Since you mentioned Leave a Legacy as one of our key program areas, I mentioned Share Your Stories, which is really about the histories and the past and how we educate for the future. One of our other program areas is called Dare to Declare, which is really all about civic engagement. And we have a really exciting program, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then Leave a Legacy. So we are talking about past, present, and future. Leave a Legacy is about the future, is about what are we leaving behind to mark this moment in time, and how are the people of Philadelphia engaged in that process. So I'll give you a quick summary. And Frank, ESI team, you and 3 of your other colleagues were really helpful in helping Philadelphia 250 and a robust task force of over 50 members essentially guide and steward a call for ideas from the general public for social and civic impact projects for 2026. And that we, in the process of putting that process together, we really leaned into our motto of by the people, for all people. And so this idea of the people are creating the ideas. We're doing a public call. We had a public call. We did targeted outreach specifically to neighborhoods and geographic areas of the city, which we thought would otherwise not be able to, would probably not find out about the call through typical digital means. So there was a whole outreach process around that, intentionally to be as equitable as we could and inclusive as we could. We had close to 90, I think we had 89 submissions. The task force helped review those. There was very transparent process for that. Additionally, you could submit in many different ways. It didn't have to be only written. There was option to submit a video. So right from the beginning, we tried to develop a program that would allow multiple ways of accessibility and access to know what was going on. And that's a really key component of what we're doing at Philadelphia 250. It is about equity, it is about inclusion, and it's about access to information and access to means of being able to participate in a way that is appropriate for an individual. Of those 90 proposals, we had 11 semifinalists and finally 3 teams. All of that was guided by both internal and external advisors. We had a totally, third-party neutral jury to help to review the proposals, and we picked projects that we thought would have real impact. So the 3 projects that we picked go to this issue, go to various issues. They're very diverse. One is around the 9th Street Italian Market and interpreting the histories of the immigrant communities that have lived there through public art and storytelling. And that's a project that actually can serve as a model to be used in other places around the city. That was the reason that we liked that project. Another project is addresses youth and kind of envisioning themselves as civic actors. And the project is about creating revolutionary action figures. Revolutionary action is one of our other themes at Philadelphia 250, like people's histories. And that is about a program that allows children to envision themselves as a future social civic activist based on neighbors in their own communities. And then the third one is about cities of inclusion, which is working with the Special Olympics, has a program to create Philadelphia as the most inclusive city for people with disabilities by 2026 through a number of targeted actions. So we're supporting that project as well.
Great. Invite anyone to submit your questions. We'd love to have a dialogue with you. But let me ask this question as we're waiting for people to come. All right, it's 2036. Okay, it's 10 years after your work has been done, and you're sitting somewhere drinking a lemonade and looking back on the impact that this movement has had. What are some of the things that you would like to see that goes beyond the immediate work that continues the legacy that you've been talking about throughout some of your comments?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a challenging one, right? What I would love to see is that the city leverage this moment of the 250th to make some big changes and to move the city forward on a number of fronts that companies and the organizations that lead the city are already doing. So what I would like to see is that there have been substantial improvements or changes or better inclusion or better opportunities that otherwise hadn't been afforded. I think that Philadelphia also has an opportunity to be repositioned as a destination for global, national, international tourism, that we're viewed as a thought leader around really cherishing the people of our city and working in collaborative ways and providing opportunities for all Philadelphians to succeed and to thrive, not just survive in their lives. So I feel like in 2036 that there's a new spirit, about us in terms of what we can do together, because we did it in 2026 and we can do it again by leveraging a collective spirit of impact and wanting to move the city forward.
Thank you so much. David, thank you so much. I see your question here. Big fan of Danielle. David Brown says, and applaud your work. I would love to hear how she sees the impact of the incoming mayoral administration and the impending presidential election will impact this important initiative. Good question. Thank you, David.
Yeah. Hi, David. I don't have the chat open. I don't have all the other participants open, just so I can stay focused on our conversation here. So if I haven't said hello to all of you that I know, thank you for joining and listening in. Yes, the next mayoral administration is truly essential to 2026 because it will happen under his or her watch, right? 2026 will be 2 years into the next administration. And I personally really believe that the next mayor's legacy will be very much defined by how the 250th is received, people feel included, and what it does for the city. So we're actively advocating with both mayoral candidates right now and their administrative teams to understand the importance of the 250th, and frankly to also support our vision and mission of the 250th, which is really this people-centered, neighborhood-based approach. I don't think mayors today, and not that any mayor could ever, but I mean, truly, communities drive change. Communities are vocal about what they want. And if they're feeling excluded or they're feeling like something happened to them and they weren't part of it, you know, the mayors are going to hear that. And we are really here to make sure that Philadelphians are central to the experience. And I think that that would be important for the next mayor. In terms of the presidential election, Philadelphia is leading the country in planning the 250th anniversary, and so is the state of Pennsylvania. I'm not sure that whoever the president is will drastically impact what happens in Philadelphia, because we are already so far ahead. There's already a coalition of 10 plus, and will be many more organizations coordinating around what the 2026 250th experience will be like in Philly. And that the mayor, I mean, that I think we're pretty well set. So I feel confident that Philadelphia will do what Philadelphia does. We're going to lead, we're already leading. The state of Pennsylvania has an excellent program as well. We're in conjunction with them. The Keystone State and, you know, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection will be at the top in 2024 and in 2026.
Yep. Another question, Carol. Good to see you. Good to see you here. Carol asks, can you share the difference between Welcome 250, Welcome 250 PA, and PHL 250, so that those on the call can understand the organizational hierarchy?
Sure. So, America 250. Carol's a board, in all you know, disclosure here, Carol's a board member of Philadelphia 250. So she better be asking me easy questions here.
That's right, Carol.
Yeah, I was wondering, I'm like, what's Carol going to ask me? Yes, Carol. So America 250 is the federal commission that is congressionally appointed. It's bipartisan. They are responsible for messaging and speaking to the whole country about the 250th, and they're working on creating their own 250th platforms and programs. Each state commission has been each state has been asked to create their own state commission, 250th commission. So America 250 PA is the state commission. It is a separate entity from America 250. It is a separate entity from Philadelphia 250. And we work with America 250 PA when they're responsible for engaging the entire Commonwealth. So all 67 counties of Pennsylvania, of which we are one. And then we work together with them when they're looking at programs that they would like to deploy here in Philadelphia. And they're very aware of our programs that we're doing here.
Great. And there are other celebrations. I know that we're the lead, but there are other celebrations at 250 across the country. I think I saw one like in Alexandria, Virginia, and other places. Do you work with them, or do you guys have? Do you guys work together? You coordinate anything together with the other ones across the nation?
Philadelphia is recognized as one of the official host cities in the America 250 legislation. So there are 4 host cities officially for the 250th. They are Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Charleston. I have met with the host city directors in Boston, in Charleston, and New York has yet to designate an individual or someone who's like my essential compatriot in New York. So I haven't met with New York yet, but the three of the four cities have all met to just understand what we were all working on. They're taking a more traditional approach to commemorating and celebrating the 250th. A lot of it is along the line of historic preservation efforts with monuments and buildings, and also diversifying the histories in those places as well. So I was happy to see that that's happening. We hopefully will be convening together as a group of host cities in 2024 to better explain to the nation what we're all doing, and hopefully use them as models for what other cities could adopt. But I'll just say our stuff's the best.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you mentioned a lot in your comments, and I'm very appreciative of that, equity and inclusion. And I wanted to not exactly end on that, but I wanted to hear your thoughts as things are changing. We just had, for example, a Supreme Court decision that's changing the face of equity and inclusion. We have a number of things happening. So would you mind kind of give them a summarization of kind of Philadelphia 250, equity, inclusion, and the importance that it is for the future as you see it?
Yeah, equity and inclusion are really central to our byline, by the people, for all people. When we reset the organization, organized in 2019, I became the executive director then in 2019, we adopted the byline, by the people, for all people. And inherent in that is this idea of community and inclusion. And we really take that to heart. And so it starts with us as an organization. So we think about equity and inclusion from a governance standpoint, from staffing, hiring, from our programs. I mentioned even the language that we use from a communications perspective, even in fundraising. All of our events are public and open to and accessible. Even we have one event a year that's a paid event, and even that has a sliding scale, and we provide opportunities for people who want to come that can't afford. We make an opportunity for them. You know, I think a lot of people know these definitions. Equality means giving everybody equality means everybody gets the same thing. Equity is making sure people have what they need. So we are constantly looking at that. Like when we did as I mentioned, when we did our call for Leave a Legacy, we knew that there would be particular areas of the city that we'd have to go deeper in. We'd have to spend more time and find the community connectors, work with our outreach team, and help them spread the word in their community. So equity takes more time. It takes resources, and it takes intentionality to make sure that people who would otherwise be excluded are prioritized and centered. And, you know, we are leading this work. And I should also mention, which I haven't said till now, we have an excellent diversity, equity, inclusion access consultant, Dennis Maurice Dumpson, who's worked all across the city, who is always constantly reminding us of this and checking on. He's integrated into our team. He is a team member at Philadelphia 250. So we also, when we built our strategic plan, we started with a diversity, equity, inclusion plan right at the beginning. So we're very serious about it. We've also create multiple ways for people to get engaged with us. So of course you can go to our website, which is Philadelphia250.us, and get involved there. We have monthly chats where if you want to jump online and ask us questions or find out how to get involved, you can do that. We're also out in the community. We're going to have a number of events in the fall with declaration station, which I didn't mention yet, but that's a fun program that's coming. And then we have our big countdown event that happens in December. So there will be increasing opportunities for people to get involved at all different levels.
Thank you so much. And we'll leave it there. That was a good way to conclude. So I want to thank you, Danielle, for your time. I also want to just make sure I mention that this is a series. Next week we'll be here at the same time, and we'll be talking to Dr. Paula Daniels about equity in food systems, as she's out of LA. And so we are looking forward to that. But Danielle, thank you. Please go to the website for more information, and we look forward to continue to work with you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.